May stared at her reflection in the one-way mirror. She looked tired. She wondered if the person watching on the other side, was there anyone there to begin with, ever made faces of that the criminals were sitting in the interrogation room. She knew she would. Lots of horrible people must have sat there while she was currently sitting. So why wouldn't a cop who take the opportunity to flip them off or something behind the safety of the mirror? It probably felt good. The hallway door opened and May's Aunt Molly stepped into the room, followed by a goat who also wore a police badge. Molly carried a large pink box with a donut wolf logo emblazing the top, promising fantastic yums. "Evening, May," Molly said, setting the box down on the table. May felt her stomach grumble greedily. Her appetite was re-emerging as soon as the scent of warm, sugary donuts reached her nose. The goat officer stood in the corner of the room with his arms crossed, while Molly made herself comfortable in the folding opposite of May. She then took out a pen and pad out of her uniform, removing the pen cap and with her teeth and sticking onto the dull end, flipping the unused page. "Those are for you, Molly's. You too." Molly flipped the box open with her pen, revealing the assortment of donuts. "Thanks," May said, taking the chocolate-covered donut and staring it down, grabbing a glazed one as soon as she finished. "So you saw something disturbing last night, didn't you?" Molly asked. "Yep," May said, her mouth full of dough. "Now tell me what happened," Molly said, crossing her legs. "Well, I was so hungry, so I went to the trolley tunnel at around about 7, and this pierogi guy wouldn't take my money, and then I left," May said began. "Why wouldn't he not take your money?" Molly asked. "He still thinks I thought I was a thief. I stole pretzels at the nightstand in high school when he was still over it." Well, the officer Connor chuckled. "That sounds like Ramsey. Man, that guy could hold a grudge." May felt her guts churned a bit. For the longest time, May only knew the trolley-eyed of the news cook was either the pierogi guy or the douchebag. Hearing by his real name reminded her that he was a real person, probably with a family. "Go on, May," Molly said. "Right. I went upstairs and I heard something like a fight and a scream. I went downstairs and saw him on the floor." Molly wrote a few things down in her pad. "Did you see anyone enter or leave the tunnel before the commotion? After it?" she asked. "No, I think I heard someone run away, but I didn't hear anybody." May cleared her throat a bit before speaking up. "You don't think I did it, do you?" The other officer snorted, Molly shooting back at him before turning back to May. "No, May, I don't," Molly said. "Even with all this psycho stuff?" May asked weakly. "Your episode doesn't really match everything we found in this. This was planned, deliberate attack," Molly explained. "Besides, if you were guilty, why would you come to the police?" "They left a note too, right?" May asked. Molly looked up from her pad and her face severed. The other cop then stood up much straighter. "Yes, how would you know?" Molly asked. May hesitated. She did not want to tell her aunt that she shared the contents of the note to anybody, as that would just get her in more trouble, possibly even her friends. "I saw it. I'm not stupid. I wrote down the other one before you took it and searched online. Here." May took out the crumpled up copy of the note from her pocket and handed it to Molly by her colleague coming over to examine it. "You didn't show this to anyone?" Molly said after a moment. "No," May lied. "Are you sure?" Molly's partner asked. "Yeah." Molly and her partner looked at each other, and the goat was taking a strawberry ice cream donut and munching on it contemplatively. "May, are you absolutely sure that there was no one else near the scene? We needed a second opinion. Now, you're not in trouble, but you are our only witness and need a clear picture of what happened." "No," May said. "It was the truth. The last person I talked to was Summers a minute or two before I went downstairs." "Who's Summers?" the other cop asked. "Salima Ann, my band, and I felt impolite to call her a girlfriend, but anything but her nickname. It was just calling her parents by their first names. You just didn't do it." "Selma Ann Forrester," Molly said. "This isn't the one that she stole Codaline from the Panthers pharmacy," the other cop chimed in, licking his fingers free from the icing. "She's clean now," May replied defensively, "and she's my girlfriend." "Do you know where she went after you spoke to her?" Molly was busily writing something down. "Home. I saw her go inside. She's not far from the church steps," May said, "but there's no way she could have done it." "How's that?" the other cop asked, wiping his mouth with the donut with the wolf napkin. "There's only one other way to the tunnel is under Miller's Way away, but I would have sworn to use the entrance to enter downstairs," May said. Was Molly's reply. Could have she seen everyone when she entered or exited out of the tunnel? The other cop asked. I doubt it. Her house doesn't really get a good view. Molly took a few notes before closing her notebook. Thanks for your help, May. Your father and Candy should be waiting out in the lobby. What is it? May asked. Oh, that's it, Molly replied. Oh, for some reason I thought you were going to, well, grill me, May admitted. Like good cop, bad cop, straight man, loose cannon type deal. Oh, good cops, only good cops at this station, May, Molly said, smiling a little. I have Officer Fananik to escort you out. May followed the other cop and sounding more funny of the name throughout the police station. Munching on her fur donut, it was pretty sure that was a pretty small place. Most of the building was taken up by a large office area where the cops did their paperwork. They only had 2 interrogation rooms, and May had never seen any jail cells. Never really Conharlio, anyway. Oh, just the thought of her of a person that might be onto something. Mr. Charlowski. He's up to the roof all the time, May exclaimed. Charlowski? I remember that, thank you, the other officer replied seriously. She then stood right in front of the door, and then turned to look down at May. Listen to me. Don't spread a word about these notes. Possum Springs does not need another scandal. Okay, May said. I mean it. Folks are still here reacting and repealing from those people that were just gone disappearing last November. You go back into babbling about the killer that is pouring salt on the great big wound. You got it? The officer pointed a finger at May. I got it, May squeaked. The officer slowly retracted his finger and slowly began walking away. May then blinked a few times, wondering what the cop did was just legal or not. The door to the buzzed and opened automatically, leaving her to face in the wrong direction when her parents, who were just fleeting in the waiting area, rushed up to see her. May's mother, upon spun her around and trapped the cat in a spine-snapping hug. Ugh, Mom, can't breathe. May choked out with her weak cough, but her mum released her and placed her on the paw of May's shoulders. I'm so sorry you had to see that pumpkin. Are you okay? Her mother asked, faint quiver over her voice. Mom, I'm fine, really, May replied, surprised herself of how much she meant by her statement. She wasn't sure if the shock or at least the fact that until today the victim was just another nameless jerk to her. But she was perfectly calm. Come on, kitten, let's get you home, her father said, heading out towards their car. Her parents questioned her as much as the police did at the ride home, demanding on how she saw, how she felt, and if she was absolutely sure if she was okay. May answered every question. The unusual calmness in her belly began to have the impatience from being tested, and when she arrived home, her mother heated up some chili for her, which she greatly dug into. Those donuts did nothing for her appetite, so she ended up inhaling 2 servings of the chili, wandering off into a bed full of beans, beef, and melted cheese combined. She then turned the lights off in her room, flopping onto her bed and crawling under the covers with her laptop. Opening it, her desktop was chirped when they received new messages. Greg, dude, are you alright? B, is everything alright, May? May then reassured both of them she was indeed okay. If she had a nickel for every time somebody asked her that if she was okay for 2 days alone, she would have brought 3-course meals and possibilities and probably enough for the tip for the waitresses. Greg, the first Penderson and now Ramsey and the Pierogi guy? I'm seriously bummed now. May was then starting to think that Greg knew the trolley side of the guy's name too. He must have got along with him better since he didn't see Greg steal any pretzels. He must have flinched everything that he said in his snack falcon. B, I'm so sorry I couldn't go with you. I had paperwork to do at home, and since my dad has another migraine, has been in bed all day. May, it's fine, Barbara. I just wanted to know that I'm okay. I've seen dead bodies before. I doubt it was a good time nevertheless. Did you see another note? Yeah, and the cops told me not to tell everyone, but F the cops. Something weird as music has snuck in the hole in someone's head. You might want to ask Angus to search it for you anyway. You're right, thanks. May then messaged Greg. Dude, I know I've got Angus's contacts, but do you think you could ask if he knows about the story of where someone gets the hole in their head where they can hear music through? You mean ears? No, I mean actual hole, like the hole that was on near Pierogi's guy's body. Oh crap, another stalker letter? Yeah, no problem. Be right back. May then only had to wait about a minute before Greg had messaged back. Angus says that there's a story called a late encounter with the enemy or something like that happens. But get this, Greg is also by the Flannery person. May, so someone stabbed the guy and left a note by the same lady? Dude, this is definitely a serial killer. Holy crap, holy crap. B sent another message to May. You would not believe this. I look up what you said, and it's from another O'Connor story. I know. Angus said the exact same in 2 seconds ago. How nuts is that? This is starting to freak me out. Me too. We should do something. What is that? What do you mean? Bay asked. Well, it's not like another cult thing. No, it's not. How do you know? Those assholes could be back. No, all of them are rotting where they belong, and they tried even operating a secret when they were still making sacrifices. This guy still wants to call attention to himself, but it doesn't add up. Maybe it's why they want us to think. Do you realize how cliche that sounds, right? Whatever, I'm going to check anyway. But all the collapsed rocks should have you trapped inside. Well then, why didn't you come with me then? Because they were all dead. Ugh. It's been almost a year, May, and these 2 killings had to be related to these. Just let it go. It's not that easy to. May didn't complete her message. She was jerked out of online by the world sounded of a shattered glass and sketches of gasoline. She threw the covers off immediately and squinted due to the bright tongues of the fire licking at her dresser in bed. What the hell? She yelled, scrambling back towards from the blaze of the erupted of her rug. She then looked around at what possibly could have caused it, cursing as she remembered of how to open the window. May wanted to make sure her room was aired out, as the 2 bowls of her mom's chili would make sure to have their revenge on her a few hours. Besides, the summer night was warm and breezy. If any creep somehow managed to climb through the wall to the 3rd floor, she would sit asleep upright in her baseball bat, and she would knock and block off before they could even climb over to her. What she failed to realize was that someone could throw something. May gasped as another projectile rocked into the room and over the window. It was a beer bottle with smoking, running bag stuffed into the neck, and it shattered against the wall, splashing gasoline that quickly caught fire into piles of discarded clothes and old food wrappers. Another cocktail was swooshed past May, inches right from her right ear, and burst right in front of her bedroom door. Hey, stop that! May yelled, roared at her window, coughing rapidly from the coming smoke that smelled of dirty underwear and potato chips from her view in the 3rd floor. She could see a figure standing in her backyard, a silhouette in fire your light, holding up another molding bottle in one hand. She grabbed out her bat and yelling in pain, and she touched its burning handle. With the wooden bat, she even flickered with the fire, and now fall from her paws, and then into the growing inferno that used to be her rug. May then slammed her window shut against the figure, just as the figure then threw a 4 firebomb, which it shattered against the sturdier glass. The burning rug then fluttering out of the gasoline, dripping down onto the window pane. May then coughed again, realizing she was just trapped with all the smoke inside within her. She had to open up the window, but she couldn't be sure if the psychopath was down there or was out of all imagination. Down the path was choked with the fire, and jumping out of her window, she would break her leg at the very least, leaving her crippled in all the mercy that the person was trying to kill her. She vaguely remembered that she was supposed to wrap a rag around the nose to keep the smoke out. She had neither rag or any water. May climbed over the foot on the bed and kneeled towards the window, mustering up for her to scream, "Mom! Dad! Help me!" May's cry for help devolved into another coughing fit as her lungs tried to substitute the air with the smoke, and she honestly considered running barefoot around the fire, but the smoke had grown so thick that she couldn't even see the door. She might have been stumbling around for the doorknob, but slowly shriveling into a black crispy husk. May then climbed back up onto the bed and opened the door, gulping in the fresh air and slamming it shut. Another Molotov then sailed through the air and cracked in the window glass. The small embers began to smolder on the sill. Over the crackling fire and blood roaring in her ears, May had heavily heard a thud against the door and frantically voices. May coughed raggedly, and then falling into her bed with desperate attempt to gulp some oxygen of the fire that has not consumed her yet. She felt her brain crust over, and another door snapped in the lock and forced it open, revealing 2 shadows. "May, kitten, are you in there?" yelled a voice that sounded suspiciously similar to her father's. "Stan, get away!" another voice said that sounded like her mother. A figure emerged from the fire and wrapped in the smoke, and of course a blanket covering a wet rag over their mouth. May then felt scooped up by and carried through the fire down the stairs. "You're on fire," the father-like voice said. May blinked over and clouded and demanded, did her mother, dramatically charging forward to cause for the burning casket over the banisters of the stairs. Fresh air then struck May like a splash of ice-cold water, which she accidentally gulped all at once and began coughing uncontrollably. "May, hold on, hun, breathe," her mother said, sitting down her on the porch. May hacked and wheezed for a good 30 seconds before she was finally able to speak. "A guy threw bottles in my room, full of fiery bottles," she croaked. "What? May, are you sure?" her mother asked. "Stan, go check the back." "What now?" her father cried, pointing at the house that was the only person aware that was on fire. It was fire. "Yes, go and grab a knife." Her father ran back to the house and, pausing clumsily to stop the burning basket blanket before it stumbling into the kitchen. "We called the fire department, hon. You sit here and rest, okay? I am going to try my hand at firefighting." With that, May's mother went inside, grabbing a bucket from the kitchen and then rushing outside to fill it with the big spot. Now May then leaned against her porch railing, breathing raggedly. She dimly noticed that there was no tape around her in front of her door. When her father came outside with the largest vegetable knife and then went around to the back, May climbed on her feet and yanked the note off the door. She stood there calm, and of course she listened, and she could hear the catch in the distance were a few streaks away for joy as the prophets were dancing in the fiery furnace, the circle and the angels stared down below them. May spat on the note, crumbling up and throwing it out into her front yard.